Tesla is no stranger to lawsuits. Some of them are quite silly, some of them downright stupid, but others might just have merit. Tesla is being sued in a class action motion for overcharging their customers of insurance. Is it all nonsense, or can you see where they're coming from? Let's have a chat about that. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. I've got Randy Kirk joining me, as he sometimes does when he can tear himself away from living in that little box. I'm pretty sure that's where he occupies, except when he's out of town. Thanks for joining me, Randy.
I'm glad to be here, as usual.
As usual. So there's this interesting story. I hadn't heard about this before. Tesla is being sued over the rates they're charging their insurance customers. And they've been granted an extension to prepare for the lawsuit over insurance premiums that appear to be inflated. What do you know about this?
You know what? I'm going to let you tell me, and then I will respond ad hoc.
Very good.
Ad hoc.
Very good.
Yes.
So the idea is, Progressive years ago had a huge ad campaign, get even lower rates by installing the Progressive Snapshot. You clip it into your ODB port and you drive around. And if you brake too hard or turn too hard or drive too fast, it would beep at you to let you know, hey man, I'm paying attention here. And it would make people drive a little bit safer. But mostly it would just annoy the heck out of drivers like myself, who would get cut off by someone pulling out of a driveway, hit the brakes a little too hard, and it would go, nah, you should have hit him. Come on. But having used Snapshot, my rates did go down because even with those 3 beeps over 3 months, I guess that meant I was a safe driver.
There you go.
Tesla is able to gather more robust data by looking at what your car sees. And there are complaints from users of this insurance policy, from policyholders, regarding these factors: forward collision warning, hard braking, aggressive turning, unsafe following distance, late night driving, forced autopilot disengagement, and unbuckled driving. Forced autopilot disengagement meaning it kicked you out, not you disengaged. And the real concern in the lawsuit is a series of false forward collision warnings which inflate premiums. Look, just because you thought there was a car I was going to hit doesn't mean there was a car I was going to hit. What do you think?
Wow.
Does this have merit?
That's their biggest complaint, or do they have additional complaints? Is that their...
Well, that's the big one. That's the one that I've heard that complaint in the past.
Is this California or is this another state?
The case involved are Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Maryland, Minnesota, Nevada, Ohio, Oregon, Texas, Utah, and Virginia. California does not allow real-time.
I was wondering. That's
driving metrics.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
So it seemed you've seen your car, I'm sure, where you're driving and someone's pulling off into a driveway ahead of you, and there's no risk of you, but the car might still beep at you.
Yes, of course, happens pretty much every drive.
That is unsafe driving. Your insurance rates just went up.
Yeah. So I suppose that if I was Tesla, what I would be wanting to do is prove that my overall analysis was correct. I think taking item by item would be very difficult. Now, if it turns out that their item by item analysis shows that the collision avoidance or the collision portion of this is overstimulated, what would you say, is overcalibrated and should be dialed back, that might be a cause for concern. But in general, I'm thinking that that every insurance policy, and by the way, I was in the assurance business for a while, so I know a little bit about this, which is similar to insurance. It's related to, anyway, never mind.
Asses, we get it.
But in any case, when you're trying to figure out how much to charge, you're looking at everything. You're looking at everything that you use in order to make a decision. In the case of car insurance, what is the cost to replace? What's the cost to repair? What is the the incidents. And in California and other states prior to Tesla, of course, we all know it was based on your age, your how many accidents charged accidents you had, how many charged tickets you had. These were the things that you were basing it on. And Tesla says, no, we've got a much better way. So I think it would be up to them, as somebody who, went to law school for a while, for 3 years and got that degree.
I mean, there is a difference between going for a while. I mean, I don't know if I told you, but I went to Harvard.
Did you now?
I mean, no, for a weekend. I was just visiting some friends. Right. But I mean, they both sound good. There's a difference, though.
Yes. Well, no, I got the diploma just because I never practiced today, just so everybody knows. But no, I think legally they could ask, they could say, I think this has got legal merit. And Tesla would need to show. I think the only problem that the plaintiff is going to have here is that you're talking about proprietary information. And I'm not sure that Tesla is going to want to share their proprietary information in a public forum on how they get where they go. That's going to be the hard part, I think.
That is going to be the trick. So I would agree with everything. Real quick, in the comments, do you have Tesla insurance, or have you used a snapshot-like device in the past? And what's been your experience? I have seen drivers who said, I got Tesla insurance. It was very cheap. 6 months later, it was way too high because I drive too much at night. And I agree that it's unfair to get dinged for night driving. But as a percentage of cars on the road, accidents at night happen more often. And look, guys, if you're the one FSD driving, it shouldn't matter what hour I'm driving at. You're the driver. Are you not safe at night? Separate matter. Mm-hmm. Discuss it in the comments. Mm-hmm. But I would agree that what this lawsuit, I hope, will explore is what percentage of the weighting does that forward collision warning get? Because it's entirely possible. Because like on my snapshot device, I told you it beeped at me maybe 3-4 times over 3 months. And I was just sure my rates were going up and I was livid. But they went down.
No.
Yeah, they went down. So it could be that your first 2 or 3 of each category don't count.
Right.
That's just considered, that's considered below the threshold. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And if that's what Tesla is able to legitimately assert, I think this case dissolves. But then the question, I get that it's your proprietary information. You still have to share with the court enough for the court to make a reasonable determination. And I don't know how you do it or how it's possible. What do you think of the lawsuit? Like what kind of damages are you even asking for?
Yeah, so the damages also would be small. So one of the things, of course, Elon hates, I hate as somebody who didn't practice the law because of how screwed up I think a lot of the law is right now. One of the things that is the most screwed up is class action. It's a ridiculous practice. There's got to be hopefully, maybe that's something that Trump and Musk can get together on in the new administration and clean up this class action nonsense. Because right now, as we just saw with Tesla's stockholders, we had to fight or continuing to fight this individual who had 7 shares.
Well, that wasn't class action, though.
It was a class. The class was the shareholders, right?
Or no, the class was one guy.
Just the one shareholder.
Oh, yeah. It was a single shareholder. Because otherwise all the shareholders would be standing to get a check. And that's not discussed.
No,
that shareholder already got paid by the lawyers.
You're right.
They're just negotiating the legal billions.
Now you see why I didn't practice law. Okay. So.
Well, practice makes perfect, Randy. And you also didn't perfect the law. I'll tell you that much.
But anyway, class action lawsuits would be similar in that an individual can go to a lawyer can go to an individual and say, hey, did you get hurt? And then find 7 other individuals. And then they've got a class action. The lawyer makes all the money. And I'm waiting for a check right now from a class action lawsuit for $38. I can't wait till I get it, because I could really use the $38. So anyway, the point being that if this class action lawsuit were successful, and the judge says, you know, you guys have been overcharging by about $7, per year, or $70 a year, or $7 a month, whatever. The amount of money that's going to go back to people is minuscule. The lawyers will make millions. That's the sad part.
I had a class action thing. There was this ad network I used back in the day on my websites called, I think it was Fast Click. And there were these bad actors who wrote a browser hijack injection. It was an invisible little thing that would go on to millions of browsers so that when you viewed any website, they would get the ad revenue.
Oh.
And FastClick didn't want to crack down on them because they're our biggest customer. We're paying them millions of dollars a month. Meanwhile, we're all looking at it going, where the heck is all our revenue going? It keeps falling every month. And so there was a class action lawsuit. And for the $4,000 or $5,000 I lost, I got a check for, I think, $3. And that was the company immediately went out of business because of it.
Yeah.
And it was,
Yeah.
and I am hesitant to accept advertising on anything I do unless it's cash in hand.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. No kidding. Yes.
too many
Yeah.
terrible,
So I am
terrible
just,
people.
I am such a fan of this method that Elon has come up with, or Tesla's come up with, in terms of how to rate people's driving. I am not a slow driver. I am a kind of a radical driver. Even at my ripe old age, I continue to be that kind of a driver most of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time. And so, I'm sure that I'm in California, so I can't use it. But if I did, either I'd have to shape up, or I'd have to pay the price. And I think it's a very wise way to judge and make the decision with regard to how much to charge for insurance.
I agree. And let's hear it in the comments. And I would point out that Randy is not that old. It's just that he did some options trading, and this is what you look like at 26. So don't play with options, kids. It'll take the life out of you. So what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Leave it into the comments below. Stay tuned and juicy, I beg of you. And maybe head over to the old Randy Kirk channel, see what he's up to. Who knows? It's probably having me on again, which is, I keep telling him, a terrible decision, but he just won't listen. Everybody else, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots on the flippity flop.